All right, we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to All Point Sports. We're here for the NBA playoffs preview, and we're here with Stephen J tonight, Bobby Blackjack, myself, Doc Holliday, and our special guest, a Knicks expert and a big Knicks fan, and they're in the playoffs. Yes, they are. Adam E. Adam E. Call Adam 914 Holmes. How are you, Adam?
Doing great. I'm pumped. I'm excited. The play-in is tonight. The Knicks have a spot in the playoffs. Can't ask for more.
All right. And Stephen J., we're going to start off right tonight. We're going to get right to it, the playoffs. We're going to go to quarterfinals right here. Nets 76ers. What do you think, Stephen J.?
Well, first, I think that if you're a Nets fan like our friend Bobby Blackjack, you might want to mute me or maybe throw your computer away or just, cover your ears for just a few short minutes because I really don't have anything positive to say about the Nets, despite the fact that they're at least they made it somehow in the playoffs. They were like Tom Cruise in one of his action movies where he's just hanging on to the side of a plane for dear life, whatever he's doing. The Nets somehow did it. You got to give them credit for that. They had some resiliency. They got rid of, Irving, obviously, which is good. Obviously, getting rid of Durant is bad. Their coach somehow put together a respectable end of the season. And, the last thing you want to do is be in the play-in game. Of course, no one wants to go up against Joel Embiid. If you want to give them a little star of approval for that in the regular season, we'll give them that, right? But as far as they're going up against, Joel MVP, basically. And, the Nets, they're going to need a lot of help from around that perimeter to try and offset what Joel Embiid is bringing. It won't be pretty, but you know what? Maybe can the Nets steal a game off them? Sure, I think that would be like a moral victory. But, man, those Philadelphia 76ers, they need a title. Joel Embiid is going to get his MVP, so it's not going to be too pretty. But you know what? As a Knicks fan, I'm willing to watch that.
And Stephen J., real quick, the NBA quarterfinals, how many game series is that?
7, I believe. Everything's a 7-game series. So, it is a marathon, the NBA playoffs. That's what you got to love about it. And, the big controversy of load management and, players taking nights off, maybe some little ghost injuries here and there. But, you start in mid-April, early April, and the finals could end in, mid to late June. So, you get 2 months of basketball. It is long. It is not like the MLB playoffs where it's over in like 2 or 3 weeks. The NBA playoffs is just, you got to love it. But it's definitely, you got to have all your players healthy because if not, it's going to be very short. But if you got a great team, man, you get to watch them for an extra 2 months, hopefully for us Knicks fans.
And Bobby Blackjack, we're going to get right to you. We're going to get to Adam E. in just a second. Call Adam 914 Holmes. We're going to get right to him. But, Bobby, how do you respond to Stephen J., your own Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs? How do you respond to Stephen J.?
Very simply there, Doc. We started out the off-season. KD wanted a trade. It looked disastrous for us. We were, forgotten team. Everybody's laughing at us. So KD comes back, right? And then Kyrie makes some off-color remarks about some movie. He gets suspended 2 weeks. So when he finally gets back, the team goes on like a 20 to 2 run or something, like 20 wins and 2 losses. They look fantastic. They look great. All of a sudden, Kyrie, the Nets are going to sign Kyrie to his contract that he wants. He wants to get out. He gets out, and then KD's like, you know what? I might as well leave too. And everybody laughed at the Nets, at Sean Marks and at the Nets. But you know what? We got some damn good pieces back, damn good building blocks back, and I keep telling this, and everybody sleeps on this point. 18 point something or $18.6 million trade exception for next year. That is enough to bring back maybe a Trae Young who wants out of Atlanta. So people sleep on that fact. So, and not only did we persevere, but we avoided the play-in tournament as we're watching last night and tonight. And we're a 6 seed. Yeah, we're gonna play the Sixers. I'm not delusional. Worst case scenario, maybe we win a game or two and just build on what we've built from those trades and we'll see what happens next year.
Hey, Bobby, it really sounds like you had that prepared to rebuttal for Stephen J. But let's get right to our special guest tonight, Adam E. Call 914 Holmes. You're in Westchester. I know you're a Knicks fan. How do you feel about this Nets team going against the Sixers?
I'm a Knicks fan, but I'll give the Nets respect. You know, they had a promising season in the beginning that, you know what, after the trades, you didn't know what was going to happen. I give them respect that they made the playoffs, not even the play-in tournament. They got a nice piece in Bridges, Cam Thomas, you know, they got a decent roster. They got a good coach in Jacques Vaughn. We'll see what happens. I don't see them winning more than a game or two, maybe a nice gentleman's sweep by Philadelphia. We know Embiid is hungry. He wants to win this year. He wants the MVP. The city of Philadelphia is on Doc Rivers' back. They need a win. Do I see them winning the finals? I don't even know if I see them coming out of the East with Boston and Milwaukee. But we'll see what happens. You know, crazier things have happened. But you know what? If the Nets win a game or two in this series, that's great for them to build on for next year. As Bobby said, they have that cap space, and you never know who's available in the summer. Lots of people want to come from Brooklyn. And you got Steve Nash just put his house on the market in Brooklyn. So you never know. You got a nice house available there.
Well, what do you say, Adam B., when people constantly say the best thing in Brooklyn is L&B Spumoni Gardens, 86th Street, the home of the Brooklyn Square, homemade spumoni and ice cream? What do you say to that?
Can't argue with that. I can't argue with that.
So let's go right to the next game. Let's go Hawks Celtics. Hawks Celtics. Let's start out with you, Bobby Blackjack.
All right. Hawks Celtics. I think the Hawks have a decent little team there. Again, I read some rumors that Trae Young will be shopped this season, but I think they'll give Celtics a minor struggle. They may pull 2 games out of 7 there. Maybe make it to game 6, game 7.
And what do you think,
I think they're a pretty underrated team with DeJounte Murray, especially joining their top 3, and Clint Capella is a very capable big man, and Trae Young at any given moment can score 30, 40 points. So we'll see.
What do you say to that, Stephen J?
I love how when we asked Bobby about the Nets, he goes, "Well, we're going to get Trae Young, so who really cares about that?" I love the little deflection. He's trying to think of brighter days ahead because, boy, it's going to be a massacre. Maybe Bridges goes up. They're going to need a lot from Bridges, the Nets. So it's possible where he just puts the team on his back. But going to the Hawks, a very surprising win yesterday. I did not think that they had a chance at all against the Heat in Miami. The Heat they've been to the finals. Yes, it was a Mickey Mouse championship, but nevertheless, they still got a good little veteran core there. Lowry, Butler, Bam Adebayo, right? And they just came out and they never really seemed to let the Heat get back into the game. They just immediately got off hot and they kept their distance and they never got cold. They played a consistent 48 minutes against Miami. And, are you going to get the good or the bad Trae Young? The Celtics have shown that they can be vulnerable this year. I feel like people were expecting a little bit more from Boston. Maybe that was on us, considering maybe, what are they going to be like the Bruins and be like that much of a historic team? But, the Boston Celtics, they definitely are a finals contention team. But, you're going to have your ebbs and flows, right? There's always like one series where they make it close. There's like a 6 or a 7 game series. Can the Hawks make it interesting? Yes, I think so. But overall, the Celtics are just going to be way too much. The Hawks need just everything to go right. And, Smart, of course, he's going to play some very, very tough defense. You'd assume that he's going to be on Trae Young. So that's the matchup right there. And, let Jason Tatum go to work. And, the Celtics have had a great year. But like Bobby Blackjack said, this could, be 5 or 6 games. Sometimes the play-in game is a good game, right? Get all your, stuff together early. Get, 1 game advantage where, all right, we're humming. Let's go up against Boston. But overall, Boston in 5 would be my pick, or Boston in 6, rather.
What do you say? Adam E. Call Adam, 914 Holmes. If you're in the market for a home in Westchester County, in the surrounding areas, or if you want to sell a home, this is the guy to call. This is the go-to saying. Call Adam 914 Homes. Tell us about it, Adam.
Thanks, Doc. I appreciate that. Right now, I think Boston's going to win the series in 6. I think Trae Young goes off for a big game. Maybe he gets his 41 game. DeJounte Murray will play well. I think it really comes down to the other guys. We know on Boston that Jason Tatum's going to play big. We know Jaylen Brown is going to play big. I want to see the other guys. I want to see Al Horford step up. I want to see Clint Capella on the Hawks step up. Whose big men are going to step up? And that's who's going to win the game. They're going to set the tone with defense. They're going to see. Clint Capella played a great game last night. He had about 8 offensive rebounds. The entire Miami Heat team didn't even have that last night. I was really surprised by the no-show of the Miami Heat last night. They waited too long to make it a game till the end, and they ended up losing. If you ask me, I believe Vegas also had the Heat to win last night. Nobody thought the Hawks were going to come out with it. But good for them. That's why we play the game.
So you think the Hawks could actually take out the Celtics if the big men step up?
Well, I don't know if they'd take them out. A game or two, but I don't think they're going to take them out. I just think you got Jason Tatum that won the All-Star Game MVP this year. He dropped a record of, I believe it was 55 points or so. He's hungry. He wants to win. They had the taste of the finals before. He's been there. He's young, but he's hungry. And I think they finally worked out the kinks with Tatum and Brown. And I think, they are going to win this series. But I think the Hawks can make it interesting. It's not going to be, the Nets Sixers. Sorry, Bobby. But, I see this game going – I see the series going about 6 games.
All right, Adam. And you just talked about this game. And we're going to start you off with the big series. I'm a New Yorker. Many people watching tonight are New Yorkers. Big Knicks fans. They haven't been there in a while. They're opening up against the Cavs. They've had a really, really good season. How do you see this series going?
Well, I'd love to say Knicks in 6, but I don't know. There's a lot going on with this. Donovan Mitchell, we know he's going to come to Madison Square Garden. He's going to put on a show. He's a Westchester native from Elmsford, New York. His dad's actually in the front office for the New York Mets. Great guy, great family. We know he's hyped to play New York. We also know that Josh Hart, the new addition to the Knicks, is good friends with him. So, Josh is going to guard him, and I'm sure it'll be interesting to see. Love to see what Jalen Brunson throws together because, over the summer there was talks of Donovan coming to New York, but it didn't work out. That could have been a great backcourt with them. I'd really like to say Knicks in 6. I think the series goes 6 or 7 games. My jaded Knicks view is saying Knicks in 6. Realistically, it's probably Cavs in 7. But I'm praying. I'm praying that the Knicks are going to do it in 6. I think the Garden's going to be a rocket. I do think that Donovan Mitchell will have a huge game at Madison Square Garden, one of those games. But again, it's going to come down to the bigs of Cleveland. You got Allen there. You got Mobley there. You're going to see what they can do against the likes of Mitchell Robinson. We don't know if Julius Randle is fully healthy. He's a gamer. He's going to be out there. He's going to play hard. He's been practicing. But he's one of those guys that he's going to go full throttle, but we don't know what Julius we're going to get. And it's going to be interesting to see. I love what Emmanuel Quickly's given us off the bench, and he's got to keep that up because Cleveland is a deep team. They gave up Kevin Love to Miami, but they are still a deep team. So we're going to need Quickly off the bench. We're going to need Grimes. We're going to need all these guys to play great defense. The points I'm not too worried about because they'll come. Between Brunson, Randall, we got Mitchell Robinson that's good for 10 and 10 a game. But let's see what happens. I love to say Knicks in 6, but for some reason, I think the Cavs in 7. But I hope I'm wrong. All
right, big Knicks fan going out on the limb there. Stephen J., how do you see it?
The biggest game in this series is going to be game 2, because if the Knicks can steal one of those games right off the bat in Cleveland, that's going to be a lot of momentum going home. I agree with everything that Adam was saying. I mean, he was preaching. I love that. And it's so refreshing for the Knicks, the fact that, you know what, it was a little scary because you didn't have Julius Randle, right? He was our all-star all year. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the year, you have guys like Quickly, you have Grimes, even Obi Toppin, just showing off a little bit of what they're more capable of. That, yeah, we saw Quickly have some good game against Boston, but I mean, between the three of those guys, the young homegrown guys, they had an amazing final 3 games. I mean, Toppin is like, Mr. April. I think it was like deja vu from last year when Randall was hurt. Toppin went off for the final so many amount of games, but it's got to be on Brunson. Him against Donovan Mitchell. Julius Randle didn't really deliver in the playoffs a couple years ago. So we got to kind of find other pieces to work with, especially him not being 100%. We're not even know if he's ready to go for game 1. So the fact that Obi Toppin could step in, that's going to be a lot more on Jalen Brunson's hands. And yeah, I mean, the Knicks depth definitely has to come into play here. And that's, like I said, we just saw a lot of that. The Knicks, we were wondering if they were going to rest some players, if they were going to go right in. They did rest most of their starters, and we saw their bench. Probably going to be the same 8-man rotation. But the Knicks, they got to play just consistent ball. We know that their defense is going to show up, but just offensively, they can't come out flat because that's what Cleveland is going to feast on. And, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, that's probably the sneakiest matchup. I know everyone's looking at Brunson versus Mitchell versus Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell, Mitchell Robinson versus Jared Allen. Mitchell Robinson has not really had that great of a year. I call him Mr. Cardio because he's the guy who's complaining about, I'm just out there for cardio. When we have 2 centers I would love over Mitchell Robinson, he's got to be, Mr. 10 and 15 maybe. He's got to set the tone down below, or else, Hartenstein, maybe even Sims right below. As you can tell, Mitchell Robinson has just been, he's not on my good side right now. But as much as I want to say Knicks in 7, this is the best series by far. They did play well against Cleveland, so you got to give them that. That's the mental advantage that the Knicks have. So I got to go Knicks in 7, but this is going to be 7 fantastic games, maybe even 6. But, just Randall coming back, that first game, if he does play, that's going to be very interesting. That's going to set the tone right away.
Doc, if I can add to what Steven just said,
Sure.
Charles Barkley last night said, this is the series to watch in the first round. He said this 4 or 5 matchup, New York-Cleveland, is probably the only exciting series of the first round. He says the rest of them, you could kind of pick. You look at the odds, you see what happens. Maybe Phoenix Clippers would be exciting, depending, but Paul George isn't playing. This series is going to be exciting. It's going to be fun to watch.
And let's just ask you before we get to Bobby Blackjack, Adam, do you feel that with a Knicks win in the quarterfinals, that this is a Knicks team that's beaten the best of them during the season? Can they win the NBA championship?
Oof. My heart says yes. My brain says no. I would love to tell you they could. We're just not that deep. We can't. Tibbs plays an 8-man rotation, maybe 9 if he's feeling a little wild that night. But you need a deep team to really do that. We have 2 great players in Randall and Brunson. Would love to see them. And I think we're a piece away. I think it really stems on R.J. Barrett. If R.J. Barrett steps up, the Knicks can advance against Cleveland. They might even make it interesting against a Milwaukee or a Boston in the second round. But the finals, Doc, you got me dreaming. I want to say yes to you.
The political answer is we're just taking it one game at a time, right? That if you're like a politician, we steer away from that. You just go, we're going to enjoy it just one game at a time. If we could get, Quentin Grimes playing consistent basketball and you get Quickly bringing buckets off the bench and Josh Hart, probably going to be in the final 5. They've played very well against a lot of teams. They have winning record against, I believe, Boston. They were 3-1 against the Cavs. Those teams above, the Sixers, they played very well against this year. The top teams, they have given them a run for their money. Now, of course, the regular season is a completely different animal from the postseason, and the Knicks are going to be challenged in this game, but never say never. But you got to have Brunson and Randall. They got to be unstoppable if you want them to make it to the finals. But yeah, Barkley basically said, don't watch any other series but this series. He was really being a spokesperson for the game there. But yeah, in the end, I mean, the Cavs are a very good defensive team. And as well as the Knicks defense has been, the Cavs are better. So could this be a very low-scoring series? Perhaps. Maybe you might want to hit some unders. If you're a gambling man, if you're on Caesars Sportsbook, maybe if you find yourself on Saturday. So, I mean, the Knicks offense against the Cavs defense, that's kind of like that's the half of basketball that's going to be most important.
So let's go to Bobby Blackjack right now. Bobby, we know your response. You're not a Knicks fan. You're the big Nets fan. How did the Knicks do against the Cavs this series? How do you see it, Bobby?
Hold on one second. If you're watching us right now, you got to turn on ESPN. The Bulls have made a comeback. It's now 93-93. Looks like under 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Oh, Bulls, baby. I got to root for the Bulls. One of my Seton Hall Pirates runs them, so I got to root for the Bulls.
And former Bulls on the Knicks, right? Derrick Rose.
Oh.
Unfortunately, he's not playing much, but you know what? He's clutch. He's there. You know what? They know they have his MVP brain to pick. Doc, it's interesting you said Derrick Rose because I got this at the most recent game I went to at the Garden. This is a Derrick Rose autograph.
All right.
Very nice.
Just a couple short years ago, he was our man in the playoffs, right? When Randall was nowhere, when Barrett was, just still a youngling, and what's his face? I've forgotten I've tried to forget his name, but Elfrid Payton still haunts me at night. But Derrick Rose, he was our guy just a few short years ago, and thank God that we finally have a point guard in Brunson that we can stand behind.
And I give Derrick Rose credit, though. He's really mentoring Brunson. He's helping these guys out. He pulls quickly on the side. You could see before games when you're at the Garden there, he talks to these guys. He cares. Because you know what? He could have went to another team. He could have said to the Knicks, buy me out. I want to go look for that ring. But he's with them. He's sticking it out. And you know what? He's helping these young guys out. And to me, that says a lot about his character.
Mm-hmm. The love affair between him and Tom Thibodeau, it's inseparable. I hope to find the relationship that those two have. It is, to question some things, but they just follow each other everywhere. Man, him and Tibbs, they're best friends.
So what do you think?
Cold weather places. They went to Minnesota, Chicago, and New York together. They're not just enjoying South Beach together, They're not just enjoying the heat.
So Adam, you mentioned getting into the Garden, being in the Garden. What would it take for a Doc Holliday to get in the Garden with Adam Call Adam, 914 Holmes. Love to see a Knick game, Adam. How do we get in?
Doc, you tell me what game you want to go to, and we'll set it up. I used to have season tickets prior to COVID. Don't have them anymore, but I still pop in at a lot of games. We can go, and, one of my good friends, Anthony Donahue, runs a couple of events there. And what he does is prior to the game, you get to come in, sit courtside, watch the teams practice. Now, this became big because when Steph Curry practices, everyone is in awe. So, like, when he would come around, everybody would be like, oh, I got to be there. Now everybody watches the Knicks play, and that's kind of how I saw Derrick Rose mentoring quickly and the rest of our guards. And, Doc, you tell me the game you want to go to. Tickets are on me. We're going.
Hey, thank you so much, Adam. So let's go to Bobby Blackjack right now. Bobby, what do you think? We're going Warriors, Kings.
Hold on. I didn't give my prediction for the Knicks.
We don't want to hear it.
I'm scared to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
We'll say like Cavs in 3.
Cleveland Cavaliers have been waiting for this moment for 3 years now. Cleveland Cavaliers have been waiting for this series for 3 years. They got the big get, and name's escaping me over the summer. Donovan Mitchell. Jared Allen's a former Nets guy who I hate to see go, but I see why, because I think Claxton's going to be a better player overall when we're all said and done. And he got some great guard play. Come on, Steve. Anyway,
Watson's going to be a better player. How many All-Stars does Claxton have?
he'll get there.
Yeah.
How many does Jared Allen have?
I'm pretty sure he was there this year. No,
He was there this year. I believe he was there the year before.
1-0. Oh, come on. Come on. I do agree it's gonna be a great series to watch, and I'm gonna root for my my baby that's there, and of course I could never ever root for the Knicks. So who was that last one you mentioned, Doc? What series?
We're going Warriors Kings. We'll
Oh.
start out with Bobby Blackjack. Warriors Kings. After you just downplayed the Knicks, he's picking the Cavs in 3.
Yeah. I think the Warriors Kings is a fantastic. And there goes the internet. There goes my game there. Come on, guys. Fire Stick's got a. I tell you, the Yes app on the Fire Stick is the biggest piece of garbage I've seen on internet.
It's
Whatever
rough.
you want to call those things on smart TVs.
It is rough. They cut the cable at the on the entire Oswego campus, so you have to use just all streaming. So we've watched a lot of Yankee games. My Red Sox roommate does not enjoy that, but yeah, the Yes app is brutal to say the least. Go ahead,
I
Bobby.
sit here and watch those games. I mean, it doesn't even come on the TV. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, it's in like half a pixel or something like that. It is brutal.
After my prediction, I'm gonna go fix my TV. But anyway, getting back to the Warriors Kings. Hey, you know what? Hands off to Sacramento. There's a team that hasn't been there in quite a while that is slowly putting together a bunch of young pieces. And well, I don't think they're ready to take over the experience that the Warriors have. But I think that's probably probably second most enjoyable series to watch after the Knicks Cavaliers.
Bobby, I gotta ask.
Wow.
Was Stephen J born the last time the Kings were in the playoffs?
Well, being that Stephen J is a Long Islander, right? I don't think he realizes the Nets played on Long Island before they came to Jersey. So if he would have known that, maybe he would have been a Nets fan.
No, my parents don't hate me that much for me to be a Net fan. I would say,
Billy Pultz, Dr. J.
I mean, let's see. I'm 23. Was it 22 years that they broke? 21-year streak?
I
Something
believe
like that.
it was over 20. I'm not sure if it's 21 or 22, but I couldn't believe it. I'm so happy for those fans in Sacramento. It's a great thing. I used to love watching that team play, though, prior to this one that was in the playoffs, when they had Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby. Those were fun days.
It was 2006 to 2023, their playoff drought. And for me, I am not happy that the Kings made it to the playoffs, because who's the team right below the Sacramento Kings that have the longest playoff drought in sports?
Yes.
I think the Brooklyn Nets.
In the 4 sports, who has
Jets.
the longest playoff drought now that the Kings have made it to the postseason? Yeah, take one guess.
New York Jets.
The Jets.
Jets.
Going back to 2010. And you set me off right now. But that's a whole different conversation for a whole different day. But
Not without a healthy Mike White.
Say that again, Doc?
I said not without a healthy Mike White. They would have been there. Mike White stayed healthy. We would have been in the playoffs.
A whole lot of ifs. We can go back to 2015. We can go to
Let's get Doc a Mike White. Let's get Doc a Mike White jersey. I mean, he's gotta be running around with a Mike White jersey this summer.
This is a very pro Mike White show. That's all we gotta know.
I'm with you guys too. All right, so my prediction, like I said, I think it's gonna be a very enjoyable series to watch. The up and coming Kings versus the wily veterans. Unfortunately, in basketball and in most sports, other than football, because football it's only a 1-game playoff, so anything can happen, and we've seen it over and over. But basketball, you play a 7-game series, unless Steph Curry blows his ankle out. I'm not wishing it on him. I don't hate the Warriors. They have too much experience. But then again, this could be the last season you'll see the big 3 together. I think Draymond Green is on his way out of San Francisco, Oakland area up there, because I don't think he likes being there anymore, and he might be a player this summer as far as a free agent or trade possibility.
Interesting take there. Interesting. I think Green would be a fool to leave. I think both Green and the Warriors know what's good for each other. But you know what? I I feel like if you have different roles, right? I feel like if you had Pippen and Jordan, of course Rodman's gonna be the defensive guy, right? Obviously Green has his role, but you know what? If he leaves, nothing's gonna change. If you have Curry, you have Thompson, you still have Poole, Wiggins might still be there. So without Green, if he goes, you know what? That's on him. More time to podcast though for Draymond Green wherever he goes, right? Doesn't have to go in the playoffs as much.
So you're taking the Warriors, Stephen J. So you'll take the Warriors over the Kings, Drought.
I got to take the Warriors over the Kings. I feel like a lot of people are going to be calling a sweep. The Warriors last year, I mean, they didn't really, just like this year, right? They've had kind of their ups and downs. They didn't have a full lineup. Of course, Curry was hurt. Klay Thompson didn't play a bit. And they played the Nuggets, and they kind of steamrolled the Nuggets, right? So when just the Warriors get into the playoffs, it's like El Duque when he takes the mound in October, right? It's just something about it where just everything goes right. But I feel like the Kings could take a game or two off there. It doesn't help that pretty much their best player is Domantas Sabonis, and he gets the Draymond Green treatment. That is going to be a tough matchup. So, guys on the perimeter really got to step it up for the Kings. I think the Kings are being very, very undervalued. I think there are going to be some close games. But overall, I mean, just the Warriors are going to be too much. The fact that they get Andrew Wiggins back, right? I mean, I don't think there's going to be any problem sneaking them into the lineup there. There's really going to be no, delay of trying to get things together, right? I mean, Steph Curry just everything gels like that, right? But you have to fight fire with fire. Can the Kings put up enough 3-pointers with the Warriors? That's what it all comes down to whenever you play the Warriors. It's can we limit them? You just got to make as many threes. And they're a pretty good 3-point shooting team, but overall, just it's not going to get it done for a series. But like we said, hats off to the Kings. I mean, how great was their season? And finally getting to the playoffs, building something special there. A very young core, maybe some hope for the Nets, right? That you don't really need that superstar. You can build with a lot of different pieces. I said that because Bobby's gone.
Well, you know what? Sacramento could possibly have the coach of the year in Mike Brown. He really coaches these guys up. I always liked Sabonis. I mean, his father is a Hall of Famer, great player, comes from a good family. You know what? Fox is playing great. Sacramento is playing good, but I almost feel like it's unfair to put them up against the Warriors. The Warriors weren't the Warriors this season. Granted, they had some injuries. It started out with a rough punch, let's say, in the beginning of the season. You never know what Draymond you're going to get in the playoffs. Hopefully, he's not playing mental games. He's playing actual basketball games, and they win. You know what? Because when the Warriors are playing well, everyone enjoys watching them. They just play a fun style of basketball. But I would agree that the Warriors are going to win. Maybe the Kings get 2 games off of them. I almost feel like in order for the Warriors to lose this, they're going to have to beat themselves. This is a great little way for them to have Wiggins come back in, because Wiggins missed a lot of time, for some personal issues recently. So now that he's back, this will really give them some time to rework him back into the system, see what they have. I was real glad at the trade deadline they got Gary Payton back. It's interesting to see what's going to happen as far as where the Warriors go. I don't know if they're going to make it to the finals this year, but I think that, they'll breeze by the Kings. For the Kings, it's a win that they just got into the playoffs. Hopefully they steal a game or 2.
Very nice, Adam E.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go right to big win last night. I really don't like this team, and I didn't think I was going to be bringing them up as far as in the quarterfinals. But let's go a resurgence Laker team going against the Grizzlies. Love it, Bobby.
No, I'm trying to find the booze. I'm trying to find the booze here.
Yeah.
Back. Anyway,
right. LeBron James coming back and in the playoffs after I thought they were out the whole season. What happened? How did they get in the playoffs? Let's start out. Bobby Blackjack.
Listen, I'm the last guy you ever want to critique or preview LeBron James. I got personal beef with the guy, and everybody knows that story. Anyway, he stole from me. Anyway, I
This
don't know.
again? This again? It's stealing from you.
Have
He's got
you heard the story?
and
You've heard the
decided
story.
to just rip off Bobby. That's how he makes his billions, Bobby. He rips off people.
I think the only one who hasn't heard the story is Adam. Call Adam. 914 Homes. LeBron James wants a home in Westchester. What do you sell him? What town do you sell LeBron James? Is it a Chappaqua? Is it a White Plains? Is it a Valhalla?
Well, we all know Valhalla had a real celeb come out of there, and Doc Holliday himself is from Valhalla, New York. And however, I would probably steer him to Bedford, New York. He'd have a little bit of privacy there. It's a little bit north of Chappaqua. You know what? He could have a nice estate there. He could have his own court there. Beautiful. Lots of celebrities live there too. So
And could you hook him up, Adam? Call Adam 914 Homes. If LeBron James was watching right now, could he call you right now and buy a home in Bedford?
LeBron can call me anytime he wants, although I still think MJ's the GOAT.
Absolutely.
That's how you make a pitch right there.
He's not even top 2. Come on.
All right, easy there, Bobby. I think you're forgetting that just a few short months ago who scored the record, the NBA scoring record, right?
He won the scoring record.
And Stephen J, keep in mind that Dave Kingman has 500 home runs, and he's a compiler at this point.
So
even Dave Kingman has 500 home runs, right? Or 400 or something.
I'm no LeBron fan. I'm not someone, who defends him. I'm not someone who bashes on him. I feel like he's getting a lot of hate for some reason. The fact that he said, what was it? He's just glad that he made the playoffs because they started like 2-10 or whatever. That's a quote you don't want to hear from LeBron. Like, oh, I'm glad I just made the playoffs. You don't say that when you're the king, right? That's the expectation every year. The expectation should be a championship. No matter how horrible this roster was constructed at the beginning of the year, that was by his own fault. So, you only have one person to blame. He's the one that wanted Westbrook. But anyway.
So before my prediction, guys, and Steven, I'm going to cut you off there. I think Adam's going to have a very good chance to sell LeBron James a home. So I think he ends his career here in New York, because he wants to play with his son. Yep. So what he's doing is he's forcing his son on everybody.
So does that mean
you draft my son and you get me too? Come on. Get out of here.
So now who do you think signs LeBron and drafts his son, Bronny? Is it Brooklyn or is it New York?
Well, you know what? Let's be honest here, folks, and Doc can't deny this. Brooklyn is the hottest neighborhood of the 5 boroughs. Brooklyn's hot. We know that. But
Dumbo, L&B Spumoni Gardens. Got the White House restaurant. You got a new Nets arena. Wow.
Maybe LeBron will.
Spot to be.
I still think he comes to. I hate to say this. I think he becomes a Knick. Again, he's doing it to force. We all know he wants to play with his son. Wonderful, but to force teams like to draft my son and you'll get me too. Isn't that tampering, for God's sakes? Is that some form of I don't know. You're forcing your kid on a team.
It's almost like LeBron plays by LeBron's rules. It's a different game when he's involved. I respect the man. You know what? He's a great ball player, but I'll forever be an MJ fan.
I'm with you, Adam. I'm with you.
And I think if there was no Bronny James, there would be no Knicks. He'd be somewhere else. He'd be a Laker. He would.
Well, no, he
goes where the money is.
Well, he's in a perfect spot now because, again, he's doing the documentaries. He just remade
Space Jam.
Space Jam and the House Party, the old Kid and Play movie from the 80s. So he wants to be in L.A. All right. I mean, that's obvious. So I mean, then again, as they always say, movies are financed in New York and made in L.A. So I mean, he can still be here in New York and do his entertainment stuff. But yeah, I think next year will be big because they're gonna make the only team that's gonna ever want to sign Kyrie Irving is gonna be the Lakers. They can figure it out somehow. Nobody else wants the guy. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, it's obvious after he destroyed the Mavericks.
I agree. Mark Cuban basically came out and said that in an interview. They asked him, "Oh, are you going to sign him for the max? Are you going to sign him for 4 years? What are you going to do?" Mark Cuban didn't answer that. Mark Cuban did not say yes. And
year by year at this point.
Yep.
If this was Shark Tank and Kyrie Irving emerges from the curtain, right, and he pitches himself, Mark Cuban's not buying. I'm telling you, he's not buying.
No, that was a very failed experiment for the Mavericks. The fact that it went that downhill that quickly, that says a lot. Just
and just
the eggs in that Kyrie Irving basket. And the fact that now, there's rumblings that Doncic might want out. I know he said he doesn't want out, but you know what? Kyrie Irving said, he was in Boston for the long haul, right? In the NBA, just all it takes is just one little tiny spark and just everything blows up for a team, right? And
it was Jalen Brunson. Brunson to the Knicks started it all off. Cuban didn't pay Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson comes to New York. If Jalen Brunson was still in Dallas, Kyrie doesn't go to Dallas.
I mean, guys, face it. I know you guys are Knicks fans. The only reason you got Jalen Brunson is because his dad coaches there. Come on.
Well, and $100 million.
That helps. Yeah.
We look over the summer. Everyone said we overpaid him. Yes, like his dad. Played for the '98 Knicks. Awesome team. Marcus Camby, Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell. Awesome team. We went to the finals. We didn't win it. But you know what? Yeah, they gave his dad a job. But you know what? We got a point guard for it. So I'm all for it.
Who was the guy that missed 3 underneath baskets?
Charles Smith?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, 94. That was a rough year.
Tough to watch.
We had the Rangers win that year, and could have been the Knicks, but didn't happen.
We're coming into a very good stretch of New York sports where you got, unless you're a Net fan, of course, but you got the Knicks. They're playing their great series against the Cavs. You got the Rangers coming up. It's you got the draft if you're a Jets and Giants fan. Good times for New York sports, which is you can't say that often.
Garrett Cole 3-0 for the Yankees.
Yankees and the Mets.
Big win tonight.
Yeah, I think they took the series against the Padres.
Unbelievable.
Adam, are you a baseball guy?
I am. I'm a big Yankee fan. I do originally come from Queens, but I am a big Yankee fan. I will support both New York teams in baseball, not in basketball, but in baseball I will.
Yeah. Adam, I have a question for you. Adam, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You're a Westchester realtor. Have you had any experiences with the Yankees? Because a lot of them live up there.
So I've run into a few of them. I've never sold anything to them. I have worked with MSG employees in getting them homes and rentals, but I have never had any clients of the New York Yankees. I would be more than willing to work with anyone, though.
What do you say? You'll toss off like a grand off the house if they get Billy Joel tickets for you or something like that? How does that work?
That sounds fair. That sounds fair to me.
Yeah, right.
But I need 4 tickets because I'm bringing you guys with me.
Yes, there you go.
By the way, Billy Joel in December was sick and had to cancel a concert. That streak is over. I don't want to hear any more about the streak. If you and I called out sick one day,
with COVID, the streak, ended. But who's played more shows at the Garden? Billy Joel. Are you like a?
I want to see. It's too late now. It's too late now.
Will not hate on Billy Joel. That is for sure. I will. That's not happening right now, Bobby. That's for sure. All right.
I don't know, Steve, you're becoming my 3rd favorite buyer brother right now. You're number 1 by a wide margin.
Yeah,
let's find out for a NBA trivia. So Doc Holliday, let's take a short NBA trivia break. Mikal Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Cam Johnson have played more games together than Harden, Irving, and Durant. The more you know. Anyway, so what are we talking about? The Grizzlies?
The Grizzlies.
By the way, 107, 105 Chicago. I'm obviously a cord cutter, so I'm delayed here. But on my screen, I have Chicago 107, Toronto 105. About 12 seconds ago, Pascal Siakam is shooting a free throw. So he makes a 1-point game with 12 seconds to go. So what drama we have?
I'd like to see Chicago win that, but Toronto's a scary team to match up.
He missed it. And Vukovic with the rebound. All right, here we go. Go on, Doc. What's next?
Yeah. Let's go. The final game. Let's go Clippers Suns. Clippers Suns. Let's start out. Adam. Call Adam. 914 Holmes. Westchester. That's where I grew up. Born in the Bronx, but grew up in Valhalla, New York. Westchester County. These are great areas to live. Wonderful schools. And when you talk about sports, you're talking about Tom Baker, Hendrick Hudson. You're talking about great sports, high school sports and academics. Westchester County Center. A lot of history here, Adam. How do you start us out?
So, Doc, what I'm going to say here is, well, you got me all flustered and excited about real estate now that you were talking about all those towns. Please repeat your question again. You got me a little.
So we got Clippers Suns.
Clippers Suns, yes. Okay, basketball hat back on. Now, Clippers Suns, if Paul George was playing, I would say we got a series. You can't count the Clippers out because they do have Kawhi Leonard. And the claw is not going down easy. But you got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. You got to go with the Suns. If they're healthy and they're on the court, the Suns are going to win this series. I think the Clippers will make it a series. I think it'll be interesting to watch. This one is the one series out west that I'm interested in. The rest of them, I can kind of pick a clear path winner through. But I think the Suns will win this. They have the best player, and then they also have the big man there in DeAndre Ayton. They got Chris Paul, a leader, although never won a championship. He's hungry. Kevin Durant, hungry after leaving Brooklyn, after all the torment he gets from the Warriors championships, that he left the Thunder to join the Warriors after they came back and beat them. I can't go against them. I think I could see them coming out of the West unless, I hate to say it, something like LeBron really fine-tunes it up. Anthony Davis stays healthy. Unless we see something crazy from the Lakers, I really think the Suns are the team out west that's going to come through, and we're going to see them in the finals.
So if I told you that I have right now the Phoenix Suns going and winning the NBA championship on the Caesars app, would you think that's a crazy bet?
I wouldn't. And you know what? Vegas would back you too and say, like, it's a pretty solid bet. The top four teams, I believe, they said were the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, the Phoenix Suns, and who was the fourth team, Stephen? Do you remember? Offhand, I can't recall, but Phoenix was in that. And you know what, Doc? That's a solid bet. Like, look, you can't go wrong against those four players on Phoenix when healthy.
But when the power rankings come up, you know who's number 5? Adam E. Call Adam 914 Holmes. You know who's number 5? The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are number 5 in the power rankings.
I like it, Doc. You know what? I would love it. I would love just if we get to the second round. It's huge for us. I know Bobby's probably there laughing at us Knicks fans, but to get to the second round, it's a big step for us because we're still building. We're not at the summit yet. We're still building, and you know what? We got lots of young pieces. And you know what? Do I wish maybe we traded R.J. Barrett over the summer and Quentin Grimes for Donovan Mitchell? Maybe, but you know what? Let's keep building.
So Stephen J, your Clippers, your Suns. I think I know where you're going. Where do you go here?
Well, let's talk about the underrated matchup in Russell Westbrook versus Kevin Durant, Clippers versus Suns. A good little rematch there. But, you know, if PG was there with his perimeter shooting, great defense, it would certainly help out the Clippers. They do have a lot of depth, but just making up against, you know, losing Paul George is difficult. And Kawhi Leonard, he is, you know, Mr. NBA playoffs, right? He kind of comes alive in April, May, and June, maybe because he doesn't really play anytime during the regular season. But, you know,
he's gotten a lucky bounce or two once or twice.
It certainly has, for sure. You know, this team really hasn't played a lot of minutes together. The Suns, you know, Durant, Booker, Paul, Ayton. Could that possibly, you know, come into play? Maybe. I think the Clippers are too good of a team to, you know, not make it a blowout. They're a very well coached team. They do have, you know, a lot of veterans on their team. They got Covington, they got Eric Gordon, they got Zubac. Sure, if you want to throw Westbrook in there, I don't think that really helps your case for them winning. I think this series could be, you know, a little closer than what people think, just in terms of games, maybe not even the final outcome. The Suns are going to get a little run for their money just because, you know, they still got to work things out, even though that they have a fantastic coach. But overall, I mean, it's just way too much, almost overwhelming the Clippers. Well, like we said, it would have been overwhelming if they had Paul George. Now all of a sudden, you know, it's just Kawhi Leonard, him and himself. So, you know.
But he's done it before himself. He's done it before in Toronto.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, he has.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry.
He's had a young Siakam and Lowry and, you know, Gasol and Danny Green. A respectable roster, and it certainly doesn't help that those Warriors teams went down. But, I mean, Kawhi versus Durant, right? That's going to be the matchup. Who's got the ball on the last possession, basically, for either one of those two. That'll be a great series. You know, even the season series, you know, they played the Suns a lot when the pre-Durant trade, and I think they played them the last game of the year where the Suns didn't really play any of their starters. So going back to one of the other series, I think it was when we were talking about one of the West teams. I forget which team it was, but it was an interconference matchup there. That certainly helps if you're in the playoffs, right? Playing a team that you've played in your conference. I'm trying to remember the team that
Sacramento Golden State is a nice. It's a nice little trip. Draymond Green actually said, you know, that's the team he wants to play because it's a 2-hour bus ride. They're not getting on a plane. You know, for some reason they have, you know, they got John Morant and his team in the West. You know, and he was saying, I don't want to travel there. He's like, when I can go 2 hours to Sacramento. So there's your team in the conference. Exactly.
You know, interconference teams, it helps for both sides, right? You go into the playoffs thinking that you know everything about that team. Better to know what battle you're going into than just, you know, watching tape and, we don't really play them that much. That's going to help the Kings against the Warriors and vice versa too. But, you know, the Clippers versus the Suns, we didn't really see that matchup all year, and especially with a lesser-handed Clippers team. So you got to pick the Suns to make a deep run, hopefully, because you don't know how many of these runs Chris Paul has left. You know, Kevin Durant just trying to win a championship without the Warriors, right? And that would be probably the best matchup in the West in the finals. I'm not sure if the seeding allows for the Suns Warriors in the finals or the semifinals. I'm going to have to check that out as well. But if that is a finals matchup in the West, that's going to be just all-star TV.
And I think if the Suns go against the Knicks in the NBA Finals, that would be a really, really cool matchup.
Oh, it would be great. Could you imagine? Doc, we might even have Bobby Blackjack cheering for the Knicks in that game, going against KD.
No. See, I'll debunk that in 5 seconds.
If it was Knicks Lakers, I don't even think Bobby Blackjack would watch the NBA Finals. That's the nightmare doomsday scenario for Bobby.
No, if it's Knicks Lakers, I'll pretty much watch doubles hockey at that point.
Wow. Wow, that bad, huh?
Anyway, I can debunk that theory in 5 seconds. Seton Hall great Mark Bryant is an assistant coach for the Suns. So I'll root for my Seton Hall guys any day of the week. And I actually met him over the winter, so and I'm good friends with his sister, so I'm definitely would be rooting for the Suns.
Even with KD, wow. All right.
I don't see KD to me is not the culprit here. It's Irving.
I agree. Irving's the one who started everything, and that's why Durant wanted out.
And if Irving didn't act the way he did last season, we never would have gotten Harden and lost all those players, all the stuff there too.
I also think if Irving didn't speak to KD and say, let's go to Brooklyn, Stephen J., where was KD going?
I don't ever think that there was that strong of a chance of him going to the Knicks. I don't believe it. I think it was always the Nets. If not, I think they would have found something else just because, he has some animosity towards the Knicks ownership, I believe. And, the front office was not very well looked upon during that time when there was, Steve Mills and, that older regime. I would have loved to have just sat here and kind of wallowed in my sorrow and say, oh, we were so close. But overall, I don't think it was that good of a chance at what they wanted to. I don't think Kevin Durant ever really wanted the Knicks.
Yeah, but the real estate in Westchester County really lends to the Knicks. Better home, better schools, and a happy player, a high point scorer, big rebounder. I see a KD in New York living comfortably and doing very well for the Knicks.
Doc, now that you mention that, I got to say, we do have the Knicks practice facility and the New York Rangers practice facility right here in Westchester, in Terrytown. We also have the Westchester County Center that was home to the Westchester Knicks, the Knicks G League team. However, when they closed the county center for COVID, they traveled up to Bridgeport to do their home games. But I am told the Westchester Knicks will be back at the county center next season. And it's a great venue because you know what? I've been there tons of games. And you know what? We've seen stars come out. Carmelo Anthony. We've seen Jose Calderon, not a star, but, he's been there. Kyle O'Quinn, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr. A lot of guys come to the G League and support their teammates because they practice with these guys.
I'm trying to get those names out of my head. Those aren't the bright Knicks teams that you want. It's not like Landry Fields or Jeremy Lin. Those are the dark days of the Knicks, having Kyle O'Quinn and Courtney. That's the Phil Jackson era that I'm trying to erase from my brain. Good names nonetheless, though. Good names for
Landry
Westchester.
Fields, though, is doing well. He's with Atlanta now in their front office. I wish him luck. Unfortunately, I think Boston's going to beat them out, but you know what? I wish them luck.
So let's go right to it. We've gone through all the quarterfinal games. Adam, call Adam 914 Holmes. We're going to start out with you. Who's in the finals?
Who's in the finals? I am going to say out of the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns. Out of the Eastern Conference, I'm having a tough call between Boston and Milwaukee. But you know what? We can't count out the Greek Freak. If Chris Middleton is somewhat himself, I think the Milwaukee Bucks will make it to the finals and play the Phoenix Suns.
Very nice. Stephen J.
The East runs through the Bucks, right? I mean, just that whole starting unit, that core, they've been there before. Drew Holiday, one of the best two-way players in basketball, elite defensive player. Just when he came to the Bucks, it was just like clockwork, right? It just fit immediately. Chris Middleton's back. He's been, his number 2 to Giannis. Giannis has been amazing. He's been in the MVP conversation. He's been in the defensive player of the year conversation as well. That's something that he could win as well. So
former Knick, Bobby Portis coming in there, double.
Somehow he's got some good games under his belt too. I feel like whenever they play on TNT, I see Portis putting down like 23 and 10. man, Bobby Portis, and they blast from the past there. So I think it definitely runs through Milwaukee. I think that they are the easy favorite. If I was a gambling man, I'd probably put money on Milwaukee. And in the West, it is wild and it is open, right? Because you have the Suns, who probably have the best roster in terms of a veteran construction. Do you go with the Warriors to make it 2 in a row? That's possible, right? Just getting Wiggins back, does that help? I mean, that starting five, I don't think there's really a more lethal team when they're hot. The Warriors. Is it a team that we might be sleeping on a little bit, like the Grizzlies, right? I feel like everyone was kind of low on the Grizzlies once that whole John Morant saga thing ended. A trip to the finals will cure all that. And considering how tough they play on defense, Morant's gonna he knows what people are saying about him. He's gonna come out hot. He's gonna come out heated, ready to play. Is it possibly another team? I think those are the kind of the big three for the West. So is it going to be the Grizzlies, the Warriors, the Suns? I don't think we've even talked about the Nuggets for 1 second here. It's a championship or bust for the Denver Nuggets too. The way that basketball is now, I don't think that a big man can really, or a center. Obviously Giannis does it all. That's completely different. The Sixers, they got Harden too, and Harris. I don't think that Jokic can really bring it to him. We haven't even talked about them. So I can't see the Nuggets winning. But again, that's another team that could, make a run at it. Overall, I do like the Grizzlies. I do like the Grizzlies to make it to the finals. I felt like before this whole John Morant thing started, they were the best team in basketball. And, it's always, I feel like in the NBA, before the whole LeBron, Steph Curry thing, it's usually been like, where's that one young guy, right? Is it Durant on the Thunder who was making that run? Was it, Kawhi Leonard with the Spurs making that run? There's always, every now and again, that one superstar where they go into the finals and that catapults their career. Is this the case for Ja Morant? Possibly. I don't love the Nuggets. The Suns, just great on paper. Don't know what they're going to bring to the court. And, the Warriors, you can't bet against them. So and the matchup that the Warriors least want to see is probably the Grizzlies. So I'm going Grizzlies Bucks for my finals pick.
My only concern with the Grizzlies is there's no Steven Adams for the playoffs. That was my one, otherwise I'd be with you and saying the Grizzlies are going far. But you know what? Ja, I think you're right. He's going to come out and ball. He knows his reputation is on the line. He wants people to still put him in those MVP conversations. He wants to be the man.
Bobby Blackjack, it's your time. I know you want the New Jersey Nets to go to the finals and represent New Jersey Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, I thought they were back in Jersey all of a sudden. But let's go to Bobby Blackjack. Who's in the finals, Bobby?
I think I'm gonna go with Adam. I think it's gonna be Suns Bucks.
A rematch, Bucks and Suns. And who would you have winning that?
I think Chris Paul goes out, gets his first ring, and retires on top.
I think that's a good pick, but I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to say defense wins championships. I'm going to say the Milwaukee Bucks win because Drew Holiday went from the third option to right now, he looks like the Robin to Giannis's Batman. Whereas Chris Middleton, we don't know what he's capable of. I think overall it's going to be an amazing series. And I think that's most likely what's going to happen, those two teams. But you know what? As sports go, health is the number one thing. A little luck goes a long way. And then the talent. But I think Bobby, I'm going with the same teams as you, but I'm going with the Bucks coming out on top.
I like it, but I'm going to go opposite of I'll go with the Phoenix Suns, but I'm going to go with just the new look New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson. I really don't like RJ Barrett too much. He's a hustler. I think the Lakers are very upset that they ever let him go. This guy dives out of bounds for a ball.
The Celtics series, I believe. I think
I
they
believe
play
so,
the
yes.
Celtics. And you know what? That's as scary as that sounds for any other team to go on and play the Celtics. We've had some pretty good games against Boston. And like I said, between those interconference playoff games, you got to love that as well. So, you know, the Knicks, like I said, they've played their best ball against the best teams, right? And you're going to need a consistent 48 minutes from the Knicks, which is sometimes easier said than done. You know, especially against the Cavs. They're a young team. So are they going to be gassed? Because those Thibodeau teams, that's the one thing that scares me, is that they can never finish because he just runs his team to the ground. A 7-8 man rotation. Everyone's playing 40, 43 minutes a game, right? Are they going to have enough juice left in the tank? Maybe the Randall injury, you know, sits him down a bit. You know, Brunson didn't play, you know, a full season. Randall didn't play a full season. Maybe, you know, a little time off doesn't hurt them. So even though they are a little bit younger, let's see what this Thibodeau team has in them going down the stretch. Are they going to have enough juice is what I want to know. But Doc Holliday doing God's work, picking the Knicks. You got to love it.
I like to see him against the Celtics. I like that matchup only because they beat the Celtics last time, home and home. Home and home. And everybody was picking the Celtics. They said, oh, no, you got to pick the Celtics. You got to go with the Celtics here. And the Knicks went out and showed the Celtics who they are. And I like that kind of team. I like the spunky team.
Emmanuel Quickly, right? His previous career high, at least, against the Celtics, you know, 51 minutes, I think he played, something like that.
It was crazy. Yeah.
It was just a wild game. And, you know, the pressure's on Julius Randle, right? What is he going to do? He had an ugly showing against the Hawks, did not show up at all. They knew what they were doing, right? Take the left away from him, force him baseline, force him to do a lot of, you know, horrendous step-back jumpers, force the ball out of his hand by doubling him. You know, if Julius Randle plays game one, which is, you know, 50-50 right now, yeah, he's got to be not the man because, you know, it's not like 2 years ago or 2021 in the COVID playoffs where it was just Randle, and if Randle didn't play well, they were going to lose. You know, but he's got to show that he's different from a couple years ago and that he's ready to take this team on a run, right? But it's going to be behind Jalen Brunson, of course.
Jalen Brunson, you know, he's made the game easier for his teammates. And that's what a true point guard does. And I think the Knicks all bought into trusting him. And you know what? When they brought Josh Hart along too, they saw the respect that Brunson had for him from when they won the championship together at Villanova. So Josh Hart is loved and adored by the Knicks and by us fans too. See him dive in the floor. But you know what? Let's see what happens. I really think Brunson makes the game easier for Randle. So we're not going to see Randle tied up, going to the left, doing that Tasmanian devil spin and throwing the ball out of bounds. We need him to keep the temper at ease, though. No technical fouls. And you know what? I really think Cleveland's going to be a great series. Would love to see the Knicks against Boston. One of my favorite arenas besides Madison Square Garden is the Boston Garden. It's a lot of fun to see.
Parquet.
Yep, on the parquet. It's a lot of fun to see a game there. So I wouldn't mind going to a visiting game there, you know, if the Knicks make it to the second round to see them.
I'll drive with you, Adam. In fact, I'll drive.
Sounds good.
Been there twice in my life, the TD
Can we take the Segway?
Yeah. You will take.
Well, hey. Those are the picks. You heard it here first, right? You know, speak now or forever hold your peace. This is the NBA playoff preview. We got about 2.5 months of that, and we didn't even talk some Masters. Even we completely forgot about that. We're all in on basketball, but yeah, you heard it here. So we got Bucks, Suns. We got Grizzlies, Bucks. It looks like a lot of people are on Milwaukee. I feel like that's the top team. So this has been the NBA playoff preview show. And, come Saturday, the Knicks, they're going to be ready to roll. Us Knicks fans, we're going to be ready to roll. It's going to be a fun 2 months of basketball for sure.
Guys, I got one question. Who's your MVP for the end of this year? You got the Joker. Do you got Giannis? Do you got Embiid?
For me, my pick is Embiid. I felt like the way that they ended their season, he really kind of cemented his MVP candidacy. Does the committee want to go 3 in a row as little Manny makes his appearance on All Point Sports, Channel 114? I think he's got a pick maybe. He was shouting from the background. I think it's because I didn't pick the Knicks. I don't think he was happy about that. But I'd say it's Joel Embiid. If you asked me at the halfway mark of the season, probably would have said Jokic. But for me, I got to go with the guy from Philly.
I'll go with the guy from Philly. I'll agree with Stephen J. This man is just a big man that's making things happen. Will they go far in the playoffs? I don't think so, but he's the guy that could make it happen for them. He's the difference in the game for the 76ers. He's the future. He's the career man, I see. And he really makes a difference on the floor when you watch the game.
I'm with you, Doc and Steven. Bobby, are we going to all agree on this one?
I think it should be Mikal Bridges.
I mean, Embiid
Who are the
just
three guys again?
right? Embiid just played, his best basketball towards the end. I'm pretty sure. What is it? A couple of games ago, he had a 50-point game.
The one thing I didn't like is he ducked the game against Denver. He didn't play against the Joker. And you know what? To me, that's not cool. But you know what? He's been motivated. He could have even won the MVP last year. But I think this is his year. Let's see what happens. Hopefully that motivation sticks with him in the playoffs. Maybe they sweep the Nets. Who knows?
I think you have to say that one more time. I don't think I heard you.
I don't know. Bobby's not going to let me back on the show if I say that again.
As Adam gets played off.
Yeah. I love it, Adam.
Hey, well, there you go. That's the NBA playoff preview show right there. Thank you to Adam one more time for joining. This has been a very enjoyable show. A whole lot of basketball talk. The playoffs it's a magical thing, right? And for all of us Knicks fans, we're going to be crossing our fingers. But Adam, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Thanks, guys. It was great hanging out with you, and go Knicks.
Yeah, go Knicks. Thank you so much, Adam. And if you're in the market for a home, or if you're in the market to sell a home, call Adam, 914 Homes, 914-424-7295, Adam.
He's got it.
Yes.
He knows it. Yeah, that's Doc Holliday for Bobby Blackjack, Adam 914 Homes for all.
Whoa. I got one more question there, Steve. I got one more question before we go. I want your take on all right, we're off basketball for a moment here. I want your take as a Jets fan on getting screwed by Odell Beckham Jr.
I wouldn't have paid him
that contract is ridiculous.
And you know what? The Ravens finally, even though they finally ponied up for a wide receiver that has played 6 games in 2 years, like 8 games in 2 years. The fact that they could have traded one of their late draft picks for DeAndre Hopkins, who is a much more serviceable wide receiver, that shows the relationship that Lamar Jackson and OBJ have. And we haven't heard a lot on the whole Ravens front about Lamar Jackson. I think that's an obvious kind of sign of the Ravens going, all right, the clock is kind of ticking. I think both sides are feeling a little bit of pressure now. We kind of got all both sides just threw a lot of dirt at each other. Just get that all out of the way. Now it's time to, all right, listen, we got your friend OBJ. Let's hunker down. Let's get a deal done. But as far as, OBJ, I really was worried about him being on the Jets anyway. But just the fact that the Ravens came out of nowhere and gave him $18 million. I mean, give me a break. Good for him. I don't know. I couldn't find another team that'd be crazy enough to give a wide receiver $18 million after playing. His last game was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, after he was injured before that as well. But man, just good for OBJ. That's all I can say.
And the attitude, Bobby. And really, it's wasted money. In my view, wasted money. A Miami team who saved money, gave it to the best player out there available, Mike White. And will he go as a backup or will he start? We'll find out. But wasted money.
Doc, there's no way on God's good earth that Tua plays 17 games a season.
We're gonna
So
see
Mike White did very well for himself by going to Miami.
right? And you know what? The Jets, they didn't get OBJ. Does this open the door for a DeAndre Hopkins? I don't think so, but a man can dream, right? Corey Davis, Hardman, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard. Respectable wide receiver room, but I think we got to get a DeAndre Hopkins in there to kind of just round everything out for Aaron Rodgers before he gets here in May.
Oh, brother. And
Could have saved money, kept White, and just gotten every receiver you could available. What a bad move for the Jets. Lose LBJ and OBJ and also Mike White in just within months. It's a bad time for the New York Jets.
LBJ, Doc, you think the president's here?
LBJ.
We love Lyndon B.
So, Steve, before we go, I mean, Adam, again, thanks for joining us. Adam, you can be a key to our show once the MLB trade deadline comes, because you'll be right there with all the knowledge of which Yankees are selling their homes, or, you know, if Aaron Boone's on the hot seat and his house is up. Because, frankly, the whole Big East thing last month with the coaching carousel with Patino going to St. John's and the other guy going to Georgetown, Ed Cooley, it all started because somebody noticed way back in early March, out of nowhere, that Ed Cooley put his house up on the market. That's how the rumor started, and you know, look what happened a few weeks later once the season was over. So, Adam, you hear anything? Let us know. You can jump on the air and let us know what's going on out there.
You're the first one I'm calling.
There we go.
And then one day when I make enough money to live, and one day I make enough money to live in Piermont, I'll let you know, because that's New York.
Sounds good.
Listen, the real estate market, that's the first telltale for free agency, right? We saw Tom Brady sell his New England home, or put it on the market at least, the year that he left them for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So, you know, Adam's got all the inside information. You got Insider Adam here. You want any
We were
insider?
tricked once. We were tricked once when LeBron James did his 2010 press conference in Greenwich, Connecticut. We all thought he was coming to the Knicks, but he didn't, because in Greenwich, Connecticut at that time, a few the Knicks front office members had homes there, as well as Allen Houston, and we thought, you know, we're going to get him. But, you know, real estate doesn't lie, and I'm here for all your needs, and I'm always here to talk basketball and sports with you guys. I enjoyed this.
Well, Adam, just real quick, the mortgage rates are the lowest they've been in months. Is now a good time to buy?
So now is a good time to buy. You know, people are scared. They think, oh, you know, it's not 2% like it was a year ago. You know what? It's also not 18% like it was back in the 80s when people were buying houses. We have to look at what it is now. You want to build wealth. You want to build equity in your home. Rather than paying someone else's mortgage, you want to pay your own. You can make the house however you want, and you can live there comfortably. You don't have to worry about painted walls, the end of a lease, anything like that. And I appreciate, and Doc, I appreciate this great forum that we had here. Love talking basketball. Love the real estate. I'm always here, always for all your questions.
All right, great, Adam. Call Adam 914 Homes. Stephen J, are you in Oswego right now?
I'm in Oswego right now. I'm in the home stretch, final 5 or 6 weeks. You know, if you want to listen to me talk anymore, I don't know why you would, but if you do, 11 a.m., the Score 1260 in Syracuse. I'll be on air this weekend, and that's where you can find me. Of course, Stephen J. Byer on Instagram. And yeah, final stretch, my senior year. The senioritis has been kicking my rear lately, but you know what? We're going to finish off strong.
And how about John Rahm quickly winning the Masters, coming back 4 strokes down? He comes back, wins handily. Doc Holliday had it on the Caesars app.
Yeah.
Not only the day before at a plus 175, but a plus 660 prior to the event. He's just a hot golfer and fun to watch. Huh, Stephen J?
Oh my goodness, Rahm, he's been the best player in golf for 2 years, despite little blips from Rory, despite little blips from Scheffler. Going back to when they restarted golf in the pandemic, it's been John Rahm the whole time.
And
And
can he go
can't make
back
it.
to back this week at the next tournament coming up for the PGA? Could he go back to back at
He wa-
plus 800?
He wants to play in the Heritage. It's very rare when you see guys, go back to back. But you know what? Everyone else has kind of dropped out, right? No Spieth, no McIlroy. Um, I mean, Rahm's obviously the favorite, but the question is, will he be the favorite when he comes up here to Oak Hill in just a few short weeks? Probably only about a 90-minute drive from me at Oswego. I'll be there for the PGA Championship. Is he going to be the favorite? You betcha. But I can't wait to see Mr. Rahm in person come late May, I want to say.
Very nice. And Bobby Blackjack, you're going to be doing some high school basketball, baseball. What do you got
Baseball.
going on?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a 9 games in 10 days streak. The only day I have off is Sunday. I'm hoping my mobile hotspot lasts that long because baseball is outdoors, and unfortunately, the home field for the St. Mary Rutherford Gales does not have any Wi-Fi, so I got to bring a hotspot with me and all these games. Well, I'm enjoying it. Baseball's I'm actually going to be calling the game tomorrow because my interns from the school, they only do the home game. So on the road, I'll do the play-by-play, which is
Very
pretty cool.
nice.
And now I believe Sunday, wherever May 6th, wherever day that Sunday is, the first weekend of May, I'm really looking forward to it because St. Mary's plays a game in Hinchcliffe Stadium, which was an old Negro League ballpark and high school ballpark in Paterson, New Jersey. It's actually an historic site, and they actually spent millions of dollars to rehabilitate and reconstruct the place, and it opens this spring. And my dad grew up a few blocks down the road from Hinchcliffe. My older brother, who passed away last year, was a big baseball star in Paterson, New Jersey. So I'm looking forward to calling that game on the road. Even if I got to get up 8 in the morning after DJing that night, I'm gonna be very pumped up to call the game. That's gonna mean a lot to me from my hometown of Paterson, New Jersey.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
rebuilding.
by the way.
I was there just a couple of weeks ago, Bobby, and I was told all about that stadium.
You should have told me. I live right there.
Yeah, I can tell you that there are a lot of things going on in Paterson on the rebuilding of Paterson and bringing back that old stadium and the old league and the games, and it's great to see in an area like that. And
the Jackals are moving from Montclair State to play there. There's gonna be a lot of soccer going on, and next time you're in Paterson, let me know because I took a tour once of a building not far from there where they have a full-fledged movie production studio, including part of it, which is an actual part of Garrett Mountain that kind of juts into the building itself. So it's a living, breathing part of the mountain that I was told that several scenes of movies go there because instead of going to the Rockies and to film, they film it right there, right inside this huge older building. They film a lot of period pieces there because it looks older, right? But then again, Food Network on the 4th floor of the building, I think they filmed Chop there.
So, very nice.
A lot of Spielberg's been in that building when he filmed West Side Story, and Paterson, even into my town, Elmwood Park, we're starting to see a lot more production of movies and TV shows coming in because it looks like Newark, a little closer. It looks like New York City, but we're giving a lot of good tax credits, so you get to film like an urban environment, make it look like New York, but it's really Paterson or Newark, so it's pretty cool.
Also, the home of Uncle Floyd, the iconic comedian.
Yep.
He's even in the lyrics of a David Bowie song. I can tell you that updates on Villa Roma. Last year, we got new tee boxes at the golf course. Now we have a new golf manager, as well as the golf pro Matt Kleiner back. And we're going to be doing many, many functions up here. This is the land of love, the Catskills, many weddings going on up here. And the biggest thing right now, the renewing of vows up here in the Catskills. come up and get remarried, the renewing of vows. I'm even thinking about it with joy. What a great way to express your love for one another, to renew your vows. Also, the Bronx Wanderers up here on July 3rd. It's a Monday. The day before the fireworks show on July 4th, the Bronx Wanderers, all the way from Las Vegas. They're only in New York one time before in the first 6 months of this year. And they're here on the 3rd day of July. So that's going to be really, really big here at Villa Roma. Jimmy Sturr coming in this weekend. Polka King, just as many Grammys as Paul McCartney, 16 Grammys all time. Jimmy Sturr, the Polka King, coming in this weekend. I'm doing bingo with them, some pickleball, some bocce, and much, much more. You guys, it's been a great night. This went by very, very quickly. I don't even know what time it is. But,
It's 10:30.
I think it's almost time for the next show. Next Wednesday, just remember, and we're going to have you back, Adam, because you are a very, very knowledgeable guest. And if you're as knowledgeable on other sports as you are of basketball, we'll definitely have you back. What do you say, Stephen J?
Hey, if you pass the Doc Holliday test on all points, that's a good spot. A lot of people have come on and failed because Doc Holliday did not see them as a good fit. But Adam, I think you passed the test. No, of course. But yeah, this was a really good basketball conversation. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about the Knicks in 1 week from now. And yeah, like we said, we hope to have you on real soon, my friend.
Thank you.
Bobby,
Looking forward to it.
We'll have Adam on for all Yankees show one day. We'll just do Yankees for an hour.
I love it.
It's my kind
Hey,
of.
Adam, real quick, before we go, how's the market? I know I'm having fun here. How's the market in Sullivan County? Any idea? I know you're a Westchester guy, but how's things going in Orange and Sullivan?
So I have made some sales in Sullivan County before. Right now, Orange County to Sullivan County, you have a lot going on between Legoland, resorts, casino. People are moving up there for jobs because, you know what, now the industry's good there. As far as Sullivan County goes, there's always the condos at Villa Roma Resort, and those are always moving. Property values are going up there. People are enjoying their time. Right now, values are up. That's one of the things that happened with COVID. We have the values in properties that have gone up, all different types. We look forward to see what happens this summer, but the spring is the best time to buy.
I love it, Bobby.
Hey, there we go.
Bobby, new car, new home.
Hey, they make me a nice deal on the on the entertainment side under you, of course. See, what I kind of like, if I was to move up there real quick, I think I would pick those townhouses in White Lake, right next to the White Lake.
Those are beautiful. What restaurant is there?
She's a study. He's like, oh, come on now.
Dining hall's only open for a half hour.
There you go.
It
All right,
closes
guys.
at 11.
Great show,
Thanks so much, guys.
And Steve,
See you
real
next
quick,
week.
don't forget to post on our seriously, post on our pages and remind me when you're on the air because I want to listen.
You got it.
Maybe
11
I'll
o'clock.
call in. Maybe I'll call in and I'll
Go Bulls.
We
Go
need callers. We need callers on the weekend. It's getting nice out, so everyone's doing stuff. Everyone's at the mall. Everyone's outside. Everyone's at the park on a Saturday.
Everyone's at baseball games like Bobby.
Oh yeah,
That's
we're
right.
supposed to go to a Syracuse Mets game, but they canceled it last week because it was too cold. Never heard of that before. But hey, for Doc Holliday, Adam 914 Holmes, Bobby Blackjack, Stephen J. Have fun watching the NBA playoffs. Go Knicks. Go Sixers. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night. Buonanotte.